Chris Paul going to the Phoenix Suns, I put them in the top 5 in the Western Conference.
I want you guys to mark my words, bro. If the Suns get CP3,
7 seed,
a 60-win
Okay,
team.
all right, we're moving on.
The Phoenix Suns surprised many people in the NBA bubble, no doubt about that. They went on an 8-0 run in hopes of making the play-in tournament and potentially the playoffs. They acquired a top 15 player in the league in Chris Paul this offseason. He brought out the best from the young players in OKC and defied the odds last season. Today, we'll be talking about the Phoenix Suns and how good they will be this season. Chris Paul will be a huge difference maker, and stay tuned to see where they'll place in the standings and how far into the playoffs they can go. Welcome to Strictly NBA. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button to get quality NBA videos, and best of all, to join this amazing basketball family. Shout out to Young that made the new intro. Tell me if you guys like it more than the old one. Thank you, Young. His Instagram should be on the screen right about now, and will be linked in the description as well. I also got a mic, and I'm really excited to make better videos for you guys. Anyways, let's get back to the video. There's no doubt that this Phoenix Suns team will be better than last season. Their two cornerstone pieces are very young. Devin Booker's only 24 and hasn't even touched his prime yet, and he's already one of the league's best scorers and will only get better from here. He gained a lot of respect after leading his team to an 8-0 win streak in hopes of making the playoffs. He has cemented himself as a top 15 to 18 player in the NBA today. The other cornerstone piece is DeAndre Ayton. He's only 22 and has come off a really good sophomore year. Last year, he averaged 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 assists a game on 55% shooting from the field. His production will only get better because of how young he is and how CP3 makes the big man on his team so much better. With DeAndre Ayton being a former number 1 pick in the draft, it just shows how much potential he has. He is great on the defensive end, and he's slowly becoming one of the top centers in the NBA. They have some quality pieces and some underrated depth as well. Jay Crowder just came off a finals appearance with the Heat and is a great 3-and-D player. He shot the ball at 45% from 3 last season, which is really valuable for a team to have. He brings great defense and is a veteran presence. Cam Johnson is coming into his sophomore season this year and is looking really good. Last season he shot 39% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. Mikal Bridges is a great 3-and-D player. He's only 24 years old, which fits with this team's timeline and will only improve. Bridges' shooting splits last season was 51, 36, and 84. He is a capable defender and is really solid coming off the bench. Cameron Payne is another solid player coming off the bench that shoots the ball on really good efficiency, shooting at 49% from the field and 52% from 3 last season. But he is only attempting 3.5 3-pointers a game, and he is a great catch-and-shoot guy that will flourish with an elite playmaker like Chris Paul. I don't want to spend too much time on the roster, but they have 2 more guys in Langston Galloway and Dario Saric. They both combine for 21 points a game and are good players for you to have coming off the bench. One exciting player I would have loved to see play for this team next year is Kelly Oubre Jr. He fits their timeline really well and can give you 19 points a night. They did what they had to do in order to get Chris Paul, so I'm not mad at the move. Devin Booker is their clear cornerstone piece and go-to player, even with the addition of Chris Paul. Phoenix is a relatively small market and they need to keep their stars. They haven't made the playoffs in over a decade. That's right, 10 years of missing the playoffs. Besides Booker's All-Star appearance last year, the Suns' last time they had an All-Star was in 2012, 7 years without an All-Star. Many bad teams have had All-Stars like Karl Anthony Towns on the Timberwolves and Trae Young on the Hawks. You can argue Booker could have been an All-Star 2 years ago, but he only made it last season because Damian Lillard was hurt and grew as a player that season. So the Suns have been an embarrassing franchise, missing the playoffs for a whole decade and not having an All-Star caliber player in 6 to 7 years. This just proves how hard it is for Phoenix to firstly acquire a star, and secondly keeping them, and finally to build a championship roster around them. This puts many teams into a big hole, and the Suns fall into that too. These teams have to pay players way more money, like how the Hornets had to pay Gordon Hayward a 4-year, $120 million contract. Now the Jazz had to pay Rudy Gobert a 5-year, $205 million contract. Big markets like LA, like Montrezl Harrell, signed for the mid-level exception and who's way underpaid just because it's a big market and a good team. If these small market teams didn't offer this money, the players could either leave or not sign with them at all. When small market teams acquire a star, they need to do everything in their power to keep their player. Devin Booker is a player that has been in a lot of trade rumors for the past 3 seasons. After D'Lo went to the Wolves and paired up with Karl-Anthony Towns, the rumors got even louder because 2 out of the 3 players were already paired up. With the Slam magazine and D'Angelo Russell saying this, the rumors were louder than ever. We gotta do this again, when we're all on the same team. Nah, don't cut it. Y'all got it on footage. But when we're all on the same team, I ain't gonna tell you which team cause I don't know. We're gonna do this again. Devin Booker has never even been to the playoffs once, and I could see why he'd be so frustrated and want out of Phoenix. The Suns need to build a roster around Booker and put stars around him in order for him to stay. The Suns knew all this and went into the offseason knowing they had to do something. So they went out and got Chris Paul. CP3 has always made his team better. He helped carry last year's Thunder team to tie for the 4th best record in the West. He helped the Rockets get to the Western Conference Finals and they haven't seen it since. He was the key piece to that LA Clippers team. He also has a ton of experience under his belt and can help mentor this young Suns team. When this trade happened, I knew Chris Paul would love it. When it comes to Sam Presti trading players, he has always taken into consideration the players' wishes and where they want to go, especially players of this stature. With everything he did for OKC, Sam Presti would only want the best for Chris Paul. Think about it. You had lots of fun elevating the Thunder in 2020, surprising everybody. Now, you have someone like Shea, but much better, and a good center that plays similar to DeAndre Jordan. Literally, one day after the trade went down, Devin Booker started retweeting some of his old tweets from 2017, speaking very highly of Chris Paul. On that same day, him and Chris Paul were already working out together. CP3 will play a lot better when he has a fun team that he loves to be around. He is an amazing player that will force the defense to guard him, which leaves key players open whether it's Booker on the wing or lobbed to DeAndre Ayton. And that's just the gravity of him as a player. I didn't even mention his elite playmaking, getting to a spot in the mid-range, playing solid defense, or the mentoring aspect of it. Chris Paul brought out the best of Shea last year, and I think he can do the similar thing with Booker, except Booker's a lot better than Shea. He's a great playmaker, one of the best in league history to do so, and he can help Booker when it comes to playmaking, as well as some defense. Chris Paul has 7 all-defensive first-team selections, and he can pass some of that knowledge down to Devin. I think Chris Paul will elevate DeAndre Ayton's game even more than Booker's. CP3 has a history of making his big men way better. Look at what he made of David West and Clint Capella. And most of all, he helped make DeAndre Jordan an all-star. DeAndre Ayton is already a top 5 to 6 center in the league, putting up 18, 12, and 2. He is only 22 years old and will only get better from here. With the addition of Chris Paul, it isn't too crazy to think that Ayton can be an all-star next year, similar to what CP3 did to DJ. Devin Booker and Chris Paul were fairly equal players last season. Even with the addition of CP3, I still think Booker is going to be their go-to guy and number 1 option, but the offense will run through Chris Paul's playmaking. In late-game situations, the Suns have a really reliable options. Chris Paul was statistically the most clutch player last season, and Booker is one of the best scorers in the game. So how good will the Phoenix Suns be this season? With the addition of Chris Paul, they'll definitely get better, and almost everyone has them making the playoffs. I too think they're going to make the playoffs, landing between the 5th and 7th seed in the West. This all depends on external factors like how healthy Porzingis will be, and if Harden gets traded. I think they will make it to the second round of the playoffs, or even if they don't, have a really competitive first round exit depending on who they're facing. Whoever is facing this team in the playoffs, no matter who it is, will not have an easy time beating them. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe for future basketball content. This is Strictly NBA, and thank you for watching.